PC culture nowadays, they're normalizing being fat. They're making it sound like being fat is okay. It's not okay. How's being obese, dying earlier, how is that fucking okay?
You need to be a little bit feeling more ready to actually pull the trigger, you know. But when are you going to be actually ready though?
Feel bad about being broke and go do something. Why is it okay that people feel good about being broke? Most Americans, that is their fucking reality. Until 70 years old, they're working at Walmart. Welcome to another episode of the Dynasty Podcast. Today we're going to go over how to handle fear objections. Hey, listen, I've been burned before. I'm afraid of trying again. Hey, what if this doesn't work? Hey, let me go think about it. We're going to go with some role plays, some word tracks, reframes you can actually go steal. Just a little bit of it though, a little bit of sauce. So let's roll.
Yep. So what's the type of objections your clients or you've been getting, would you say?
Let's first go to the think about objection. Think about objection is a very interesting one because think about it is not an objection because it's not a specific concern, right? So for example, hey, I've been burned before. Okay, now we're getting somewhere because what's happening there is they tried something before, it didn't work for whatever reason, and they're afraid of trying again. Hey, what if this doesn't work? They're afraid of failure. That's more specific, but think about it, it's not a real thing, right? So now we got to get into isolating the real concern. Yeah. So how I look at it is this. People have different takes on it. Let's say, for example, right? Hey, so you drop the price or you whatever, hey, where'd you like to go from here? And they say, hey, this sounds good, let me think about it. Or they say something like, yeah, this is a lot of money. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go speak to my wife, get back to you. Just give me 24 hours. Can you send me an email? Different objections. So some people go straight into the fear. I like to handle logistics money first. Meaning that, hey, no problem, man. Money aside, do you feel like this could help you get to where I want to go? And the reason why I like to do it this way, and then I handle the money first. And they say why, right? So actually, let's go through that quick role play, right? Just the money part, right? All right, cool, man. So where do you want to go from here?
Yeah, it's just a lot of money, you know.
Yeah, that's all good, man. Money aside, do you feel like this could help you get to where I want to go?
Yeah.
Okay, but why though, besides the coaching?
Just accountability and like the system laid out, really.
Okay. So is it more so the upfront amounts, or if we could help you break this up into more digestible chunks, would that make it easier for you?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's say, as you can imagine, people don't have the skills yet to start a business. They may not have the whole upfront amounts. That's why they come to us in the first place, right? So let's say we break into half and half. Equal amounts 30 days apart. Would that help you out?
That would, yeah.
Okay, and does that work within your current budgetary constraints?
Yeah.
Cool, man. So knowing that you feel like this could help you get to where you want to go and the money works, where do you want to go from here?
Let's do the half and half then.
Yeah. So let's say they have fear though, right? Okay. So from here, let's pause there. So I like to do it that way, even though they give me a think about it, even though they say that's a lot of money, I'm afraid of doing this. I like to do that first because there's a story one time at one of the offers I was selling on, and there's one rep got an objection, and he was doing literally an hour and a half of sheer objection handling, right? Fear reframes, all that. And then after an hour and a half, the prospect wasn't buzzing. He's like, yeah, dude, listen, but this is a lot of money. And the rep was like, yeah, okay. I mean, dude, we have financing. You want to do that? And the prospect was like, you have financing? And the rep was like, yeah. And the prospect's like, oh, you should have told me an hour and a half ago. I would already did the financing. It's like, okay, you want to apply? They're like, yeah. And then they got approved and they bought. So if he handled the logistical money, they would have just you didn't have to do that in the first place, right? And another sales call I hopped on, the person gave me like a competitor and a fear objection. And they're like, yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I think I'm going to just kind of look around more. I think I'm going to do this other program. And if I went just handle the competitor, that would have taken me like however long it taken. But what I did was, yeah, no problem, man. Like looking aside and money aside, do you feel like this could help you? Okay, so if we did half and half, would that help you out? They're like, yeah, so it's still a bit tight, man. I think I'm going to look around. All Gucci, man. If we did like thirds, 3 payments of X amount, 30 days apart, would that be easier for you? They're like, yeah, that could work. Okay. Want to do that? They're like, yeah. And then they bought. But if I did like the competitive objection reframe, it would have taken me way longer. And then I didn't even have to do it in the first way. So I like to do it that way first. Okay. So after that, handle money. And then let's say, okay, money aside, you feel like and then where do you want to go from here? And you say fear objection. I like to handle that at that point. Yeah. So let's say you say, yeah, I don't know, man. So I just like to think about it. Usually they give you a specific fear at that point, but they still don't give you. Yeah, it's all good, man. What was that you might want to go over in your mind to see if I can help you? And then usually at that point, they give you a fear, and then I like to handle it that way. But what's your approach?
My approach is I've been deeply influenced by Marco. So it's like I go with fear for like, I guess 2 questions. So let's role play. So yeah. Hey, where should you go from here, Brian?
Yeah, it sounds good, man. But I mean, it's quite a bit of money. So I like to just think about it and give me like 24 hours. And the number you texted me, is that a good number to text you back?
Yeah. You can text me anytime.
Yeah.
And that's not uncommon. And money aside, would you do this though?
I mean, yeah.
Why?
It's just that, because, I think I need that guidance because I don't know how to do this. So like the coaching and the guidance, definitely I need that for sure.
So can I be direct with you if you don't mind?
Sure.
You talking about the money here for a second. Isn't that all the reason why we're here on this conversation today?
What do you mean?
What I mean by that is for you, isn't that all the reason why we're here on this conversation? Because how much longer do you want to tell yourself that these things that you want to do, I'm not talking about the mentorship alone, but you be able to retire your parents, for example, or you be able to travel around. You be able to have the time freedom. How much longer do you want to tell yourself that those are a lot of money for you?
Not that much longer.
Why not?
Because enough is enough.
So is it just a case that you don't have the full amount? Or it's just a case that you do? Is it just a case that you do have the full amount, but you're just hesitant? Or is it just a case that you don't have the full amount right now and you just want to do it?
I mean, like the whole amount I can't. Do you guys have payment plans?
Yeah, we do have payment plans.
Okay.
We can break it down half and half. So that's where I just break it down. I just gut check a little bit first because I sold a lot of e-com coaching, and typically the language pattern that these guys have is that I don't have the money, so I'm never successful. Or I live paycheck to paycheck, so I'm like, I cannot get out of that. That's their mindset. So I want to gut check first, have leverage, and then get into money logistics or whatever it is. And then if it's like full on, they have the money and they're hesitant, then I just go fear from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So typically how I like to do it is because I struggle with this because, okay, in the sales script, in the discovery, you have a script, right? You know exactly what questions you're going to ask from start to finish, and you have the pitch. But people typically get lost during objection handling because they don't know where to take it. They don't know what to do because objection handling, there isn't really like a script per se, right? From start to finish. So it's more of a structure how I look at it. And I have a flow chart for this, but how I like to handle it is, okay, so you have the specific concern, and then you usually want to do a reframe. And then after that, loop back to the sale. And either they go to the sale or they still have a concern. Then you turn up the intensity of the reframe, analogy or story. So a reframe basically is helping them see things from a different perspective, because their perspective right now, the way they're thinking in their belief system is, hey, if I do this, that's too much risk. Therefore, I will not take that risk. Hey, that's too much money for me right now. This is not the right time. Whatever the story they're telling themselves is.
Yeah.
So helping them see from a different perspective, which is basically if their concern is, hey, what if this doesn't work? Then I'm a failure and I spent a lot of money for nothing. But hey, if you do this, you at least try it. Right? Now, there's better ways to put it, but that's essentially the long story short. And then you loop back to the sale. Because if their thought process is in which that you think, right? Which is, well, then yeah, like I need to try something. Then they're going to go with the sale. So it's helping them think differently. So once you do that, you loop back to the sale and you keep repeating that over and over and over, right? Jordan Belfort talks about the looping, right? So his way of doing it, I like the concept itself, right? He has different word tracks for it. I like the concept itself, which is, okay, reframe that and you loop back to sale. You repeat it over and over again, right? So let's go through some specific concerns. So when you're selling B2C coaching, for example, or some typical concerns, you get like, what if this doesn't work? I've been burned before. So let's go through that one. I've been burned before. So let's role play, right? So yeah, cool, man. So knowing that money does work and you feel like this could help you get to where you want to go, where do you want to go from here?
Yeah, I'm just a little skeptical though.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've tried these type of programs before. It just never really worked out.
Yeah. Were there other people in the program getting results?
Yeah.
Okay, so if other people got results, what do you feel held you back from getting results from the same program?
I don't know. I just don't think I've gotten the same level of support, I think.
As opposed to everyone else in the same program?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I guess I got in a little later and gotten a bunch of group coaching rather than just more personalized support.
Okay. And how much of the material have you actually implemented though and stay consistent?
Not much.
Why not?
Just I guess life got in the way also, and I just lost a little motivation.
Yeah, because you could have the key to the castle, but if you're not the one picking it up and actually taking the steps, get to the castle, turning it, how is anything supposed to work?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because nothing's a magic bullet. You know, you got to be the one taking responsibility. So could it be the fact that it's not the program that didn't work, but you didn't work it?
I never worked it, I guess.
Yeah, because if you let life get in the way, because you, me, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, we all have 24 hours in a day, right? So it's not like we don't have the time. We just don't set aside the time for the things that we need to. So what happens if you keep doing that? What happens if you keep letting life get in the way?
Well, I'll never be successful.
What happens at that point?
Well, I'll just stay in the same job over and over again, you know.
And what about for your kids?
They would not be able to spend more time with their dad, I guess.
Is it the father you want to be?
Nope.
Why not?
Because my father never really spent time with me, so I want to make sure that my kids spend time with them.
So the father that you want to be, the father that's actually spending time with his children, what would he do in a moment like this?
He would do it.
So what do you feel like you need to do to become that father?
There we go.
How did that feel as a prospect?
It felt like you feel this tension. And that's kind of like the perfect tension, because it's not like an external tension where it's like a like fast action bonus, fast action discount or something like that. It's just like, or you need to do this program. It's like you're overcoming. So what you did was you got me back to results-based thinking. It's like, but do you care about your results? And then you planted an identity there, and then you shifted my belief system, and therefore like act upon your belief system. And you're challenging me that. Yeah.
And also agitating your pain.
Yeah.
Right. I'm throwing salt there because pain, I'd rather have you have more pain and actually change your situation. I hate the whole thing of, dude, like today's PC culture nowadays, they're normalizing being fat.
Yeah.
They're making it sound like being fat is okay. It's not okay. How's being obese, dying earlier? How's that fucking okay?
Yeah.
Right. So they have these like plus models normalizing being obese is okay. It's not fucking okay. So stop fucking normalizing that shit. It's not good for people. Right? People die early. It's not good. And so, yeah, feel bad about being fat and go do something about it. Same thing. Feel bad about being broke and go do something. Why is it okay that people feel good about being broke? How is that okay? You know what I mean? So now I want you to take action. So what do we do there? Okay, so you said first step is responsibility, especially. It's most across sales, but especially in BizOp. Comfort zone and responsibility. Name of the game.
Yep.
You master that, you get the prospects to that state, getting outside the comfort zone, take responsibility, you're going to be very successful in BizOp.
Yeah.
So that's what I really focus on when I was selling BizOp. So what the here? Yeah, I did other programs that didn't work. And then typically we would have done that in discovery already, but if it happened again for whatever reason, we just loop back to that.
Yeah.
So the other people getting results. Yes. Okay. So they got results. What happened to you? Life got in the way. What's happening there? Externalizing responsibility. Life got in the way. No, man, you let life get in the way.
Yeah.
Right. But asking a question form, hey, could it be possible that you let life get in the way?
Yeah.
Because we all have 24 hours. And it's true. And you, as a sales professional, you got to live that life and you got to really be about that life.
Yeah.
Because I believe that we all when we say we don't have time, it's not we don't have the time. You're saying, I don't have time for that. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a thing. Right now, I don't have time to go get an ice cream. Because it's not important to me enough, right?
Yeah.
But for my goals, I'm going to make the time. And if I don't, that's my fault, not anyone else's. And I'm not a perfect human being. I'm not David Goggins. So like I slip up too, but I'm like, yep, that's my fault. I fucked up. But if someone's not taking responsibility, lack of responsibility causes lack of urgency. Because it's not me. It's my spouse. It's life got in there. It's my job. It's my boss. No, man. Like then you're giving away your power. So first, get them to take responsibility. And after that, consequence them. Yeah, but what happens if you keep letting life get in the way? What happens then? Well, then I can't spend more time with my kids. What happens then?
Yeah.
I feel like a bad father, right? Is that what you want? No, why not? Because of da-da-da-da-da. Because my father, he didn't spend time with me. Why not? You want to ask why or why not on things that you want to solidify the idea on.
Yeah.
Right? So you're like, yeah, because my father, he wasn't there. Is it the father you want to be? No. Okay, so what kind of father do you feel like you need to be? I need to be this type of father.
Yeah.
Okay. So reason why I do that, it's not about the product or the program. It's not about, hey, these coaching calls, the guarantees. None of that. No. because it's about the big domino, right? So if he believes that he needs to be this father who's getting outside the comfort zone, taking action, and then that's who he wants to become.
Yeah.
Identity first, and then, okay, what actions do you need to take in order to become that father? Or that I need to do something. Do like what? Get outside of my comfort zone. What is in that moment right now that now like I need to do this? Okay, so where should we go from here? Then the natural step becomes buying the product.
Yeah. For example, if someone said they've been burned before, my word track or my thought process, like it's my belief system. It correlates to that is like despite all of that though, despite you being burned before, like what keeps you going? Because a lot of people who's been burned before, they like to just give up. So what I did was I secluded, like I just kind of like did a us versus you type of frame, us versus the world, because a lot of people would have given up. Well, it keeps you going and putting yourself at a position of risk. Then they would only give me like two type of answers. Number one is I believe that still is possible out there. I know there is a way. Or number two is I'm not a quitter. So what they did is they just planned an identity and consequence, right? Like what happens if you just quit though? What happens if you just quit right here, right now? And then they'd be like, well, I'm not going to get the results. What does that look like, right? Like probe on, what does that actually look like? And they'll be like, oh, I'll never be successful. And is that the story you want to tell yourself? Because what story you want to tell yourself at the end of the day? Because there are two type of people. The because of type of person and the despite of. Because of things that happened to me in the past, I'm not able to make it work. Or there's the other side of the person that says, despite of things happening in the past, I was able to make it work. Which story do you want to tell yourself at the end of the day in your deathbed? And why is that important? So for you, in order for you to be that person, what decision do you need to start making so that you can actually not be the quitter, not becoming the because of type of person, but becoming despite of type of person for you and your family? And who do you want to show up as your family? Then do it.
Yeah, 100%. I think big part of objection handling is just you as a sales professional, you truly believe that and you're getting after life yourself. You're not externalizing responsibility. You're not asking for handouts, but you go after, you take responsibility getting outside of your comfort zone. Because when you do that, that conversation becomes quite easy. You don't need to ask, what should I say next? Or what's the fancy reframe? You just be real with them. Yeah. And you can do it in like, asking question form, but you can be more direct. But Marco is a phenomenal example. He doesn't do fancy, crazy reframes. No. He just like has a real talk with them. Why? Because Marco, he's taken so many risks. He just gets after it silently, doesn't make excuses. So it comes naturally too, right? It still boggles my mind how, especially people in the high ticket, you're selling coaching programs. You're asking prospects to get outside their comfort zone, take risks, but you're not doing that yourself.
Yeah, you're afraid of a $97 program.
Bro, I swear to God. Like, I still have like some people in my DMs. It's like, hey, Brian, I was going to get into your community, but like you raise your price. It's like, dude, I raised it by $50. And then I asked them, okay, so they told me like, yeah, I'm struggling with building pain. Okay, how many deals are you losing because of that? Well, in the last 2 weeks, I lost maybe like 8. Okay, how much commission per sale? $500. Okay, so 500 times 8. So you lost $4,000 in the last 2 weeks. Now, we can't close every single one of them. We're not Jesus. But let's say you could close at least like, I don't know, a quarter of those. It's $1,000 in the last 2 weeks. And you're afraid of $150. Get the fuck out of my DMs. The fuck you doing? It's crazy. My belief system is, and I use this analogy in a closing call, so in an objection handling call, it's like, you don't become healthy and go to the gym. You go to the gym to become healthy. Like, for example, a lot of people say like, hey, June, I'll find an offer first and I'll come back to you. Good job on that. Good luck on that. Because you and I, at least for me, like when I invested in a renowned sales program, which was like a lot of money back then, like I didn't have an offer. I was like, well, let's build a skill and let's figure it out as I go. I didn't know how I'm going to pay the next month because I gave out everything, my 3K to everything. And next month I figured it out. Like, but the thing is, oh, I need to do this so I can be this. That's what your prospects tell you. Yeah, I need to be a little bit more, feeling more ready to actually pull the trigger, But when are you going to be actually ready though? Readiness doesn't come from situation. It comes from within you. Commitment doesn't come from external reasons, but comes from within you, right? So again, like what you just said, right, is internalize the responsibility, making sure that they understand this responsibility. And then what? Results-based thinking. So what results do you want?
Okay, then identity. Now you funnel it down to identity. You want to be that father, right? Then all what you did was, okay, then go for the close now. Based on the identity and based on that belief system, shifting that belief system, what do you need to do then, right? There was a sequence that you've done. And that's my whole framework is results-based thinking first, get them to think about the results. And then from that on, shift their identity, make sure that they're compliant to the identity, and then shift their belief system.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think the big part of getting better objection handling is just you not buying into your own limitations in life and you holding yourself to a higher standard.
Yeah.
And when you do that, then when you talk to another person, you don't even have to have the fancy reframes. That's a bonus, right? You could have that, but because, for example, if you believe the person doesn't, let's say they don't have the money, right? The prospects say, I don't have the money, man. That's a lot of money, man. Oh, no, I totally get it. Yeah, go away. Like, think about it. That's fine. Like, just reach out when you're ready. Then, yeah, because you're doing that to yourself. I see this all the time. And I ask them, hey, could it be possible that if someone really wants to make a change bad enough, they can go find the money? Like, they're holding a fucking $1,500 cellular device in their phone. They got that. Their car is how much? You know what I mean? Their TV's how much? Their furniture's how much? I'm not saying like if someone's really tight of money, like take all their last dollar and like put them homeless. I'm not talking about that. But it's about like in that example, people can get resourceful. Like if they want to change enough. You, for example, you find a way, right? Like you work 3 part-time jobs. You ask your single mother that you really didn't want to do that, but you did it because like short term you're being selfish, so long term you could be selfless, taking care of your single mother. Now you're taking care of her now, right? Same thing with me too. I'm like in the short term, like I did that. So when I'm talking to a prospect, I'm not buying into their limitations, right? Hey, don't tell me you can't. Ask me how can I?
Yeah.
And then we can go through different options. Like, dude, I can't do this. No, don't fucking tell me you can't. Ask me, hey, how can I find the money? We can do it together. But don't fucking tell me you can't, because you fucking can.
Yeah, you can actually. And for example, like rash decision. I don't make rash decisions on the call. Like the thought sequence or the word track that I have in my mind is, and every call I be flexible because I was deeply influenced by Marco and I was deeply influenced in how that guy sells, because there are times where that guy goes on a rant for like 2 minutes and then ask a question. The guy's like, and the prospect's buying now. But it's so unorthodox because I was told to do Q&A, consequence. He doesn't do that. He's like talking over the person and the person buys. So I'm like, my style is a little unorthodox, but I put a word track behind it. For example, if someone says, I don't like making rash decisions. What would it? So I'll be like rash decisions.
Let's role play that. Let's role play. Yeah. I'll be like, yeah, June, but I just don't make rash decisions in the spot. So I like to just. I just want to make sure I'm not getting into something that, you know, I'm going to regret later.
Yeah, that's not uncommon. I guess rash decision aside, like, would you do this?
I mean, yeah.
Why?
I can see how this can benefit me. Like, I see the value.
In what way, though?
Yeah, you know, like I need that accountability. I need that community. I need the step-by-step on how to start this
Why
business.
is that accountability important to you?
Because I don't have that right now. So, you know, having that really helps. And that's just how I best learn. So, you know, so I just, but you know, I just.
And you mentioned that you would regret, like, how did it feel actually to make a rash decision though? Just so I can understand and help you, you know?
Oh man, it's just like I spent $6,000 and that went down the toilet and it's not working. And then now I'm like, man, you know, now I have to just make this. That's a lot of money, you know?
Yeah, that's a lot of money for a lot of people also. I guess despite you having those previous experiences before, like what keeps you going? Because a lot of people, they would have given up, you know, like you're on the call here today, take some type of risk for yourself so that you can actually get the results that you want. What keeps you going still, despite all of that?
I mean, really, I don't want to stay in 9 to 5.
Why not though? A lot of people stay in 9 to 5.
They do, but I just don't think it's my thing, man. Like I got to report to a boss and I just got to sit there and commute and it's just not fulfills me. And I just living paycheck to paycheck is.
What happens if you keep on feeling unfulfilled because you keep on staying in the same job and you just quit?
I mean, I already feel miserable going to my job, so more miserable. And but the biggest thing is I'm not reaching my full potential.
Is that what you deserve though, as a human being?
No.
Is that what your family deserves as well?
No.
Why do you say no?
My family deserves more, that's for sure. Not just about me, but my family, that they deserve more.
Then who do you need to become so that your family deserves more, ultimately? The one that says, because of my previous experiences, I wasn't able to make it work? Or the one that says, despite of my previous experiences, I was able to make it work? Because what do successful people do?
I'm not sure.
Like, what do successful people do when they have failures previously, or when they face obstacles in life? What do? Do they say, because of my previous experiences, I'm not able to push through? Or do they say, despite of all that, I'm going to make it work?
I mean, they make it work, but...
Why would they make it work, though?
I mean, that's why they succeeded, right? Because they had to keep going. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. And I get that. It's just...
When you say you get that, what do you mean?
I mean, I understand it. It's just that I just want to make sure I'm making the right decision, man. So if you can just give me like 24 hours, like that's all I'm not going to ghost you. Like I will get back to you. Just
not a problem with that. For you, like, what happens though if you never make the change though? Like, how will you ever get the results that you want if you don't ever commit to yourself for you and your family?
And yeah, I mean, I'd stay my 9 to 5.
Because the thing is that, can I be direct with you if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Like, because I do care about results at the end of the day. But let's say if I didn't care about the results, you know the very first thing I'd tell you to do?
No.
Make a guess, though. Make a guess right now.
I don't know.
The very first thing I'd tell you to do is just go do something that you're comfortable with. Which is what? Which is just go away.
Yeah.
Because what kind of coach am I on God's green earth to just let you do whatever you're comfortable with when that's the thing that got you the results that you're facing right now in life? You mentioned that accountability is important for you, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it okay if I give you that accountability right now?
Yeah, I don't want you to sugarcoat things.
Yeah. And I'm not sugarcoating things here right now. For you, if accountability is important for you, then I'm holding your hand to the fire right now, which is making sure that you do something uncomfortable, because where does growth happen? In your comfort zone or in your discomfort zone, I guess?
Yeah, outside the comfort zone.
Outside of the comfort zone. So knowing that everything is outside of the comfort zone for you and your family, where they can spend more time with their kids, like, who do you need to become? The father that says because of or despite of at the end of the day?
Despite of.
And you want to be that successful father?
Yeah.
Then who do you need to become right now? The father that you deserve to become?
Yeah, I mean...
Then what decisions do you need to start making so that you can actually get the results? And it's probably not doing something that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Where should we go from here then?
All right. Break down what we did.
Can you break that down for me? Because I'm having massive brain fog right now because I'm sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, break it down for me though.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing you did is just holding the person to a higher standard. That's really the long story short, right? So the person's like, yeah, man, but, and also you didn't let me get to the but, right? But you're like, okay, but why though? Probe, right? Because it's like, buts, it's just not productive because they're just going to go into the spiral of why they can't do it.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, we're not going that way, bro. It's this way. Okay. Who do you need to become? Okay. Why? And also involving family, because that's what's important. It's a bigger emotional motivator. It's not just about you, your family. What do they deserve? So now they have to go into like, oh, it's not just about me, like my family, right? And also going deeper into pain about, so what happens if you keep just being inside your comfort zone? Yeah, I stay at my job. Okay, so what does that look like? Probing deeper into that, deeper pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then and also talk about the accountability thing, because that's pretty powerful stuff. So you do that typically in the pitch, right? And the pitch you include the accountability, and then you loop it back here. Why do you do that?
The last part of my pillar is always accountability. And I ask a specific question. Does that bother you that we're holding you to a higher standard and we're going to check on you XYZ amount of times? And they say no. And they actually say, no, I need more of that, Actually, they fight back. And why is that accountability important to you, right? So when the moment that you mentioned, like you said, I can see how this benefits me. You gave me a wishy-washy answer. I probed onto that. In what way? And something like that. And you told me that accountability is important, XYZ is important. And I leaned on to the accountability is important because I know I'm going to use it later down the road. So accountability is what? We all know accountability is doing something uncomfortable at the end of the day. Keeping you to do something that's uncomfortable to you. So I tried to finish the first loop, and then you kind of rambled and then derailed it. So I was like, okay, fuck the first loop. Fuck the first loop. Let's go to the second loop, which is my favorite loop is, hey, I do care about your results, but if I didn't care about your results, the very first thing I tell you to do, you're like, Usually, in a real life scenario, though, you'll tell me to go think about it because I hold a strong frame. But like this, a role play, there's no context, so you'd be like, oh, I don't know. So I'll be like, I just tell you. Can I be direct with you? I'll just tell you right now. And then I just told you, hey, well, you're doing something comfortable right now. Let me make sure that you do something uncomfortable, because how on God's green earth am I like a coach or am I a leader if I just let you do whatever you're comfortable with when that's what got you the result that you're in right now? That was a whole breakdown.
Nice.
So what do you need to do so that you get out of your comfort zone? So I would try to make sure that I get all the objection handling done within the third loop and make sure I get to my next meeting,
Yep.
Because usually by the third loop, it's like 1 hour done.
Yep.
But, and people might think this is like a little too direct also, but I like to just keep it direct and within a short amount of time instead of like doing analogies and dragging it out, I don't, like you, for example, when you're objection handling me, the reason why I loved it so much is there's no analogies. Because usually what people do is, oh, have you ever had a bad date before? And those analogies are great, but you just went straight to the person also. And that's what I'm doing to you also is, despite all of that, what keeps you going? Like, you're not a quitter. Okay, why are you not a quitter though? Solidify the identity. And like, despite of, because of, again, another identity.
Yep. And
the father, which father you want to become to your son? What do you want to tell your sons? Like, you want to say, oh, despite of, because of this, I was able to get you a better future, or despite of all this, I was able to get a better future for you. I'm proud of you guys,
Yep.
What story do you want to tell yourself? It's all internal dialogue at the end of the day. What story do you want to tell yourself at the end of the day?
Yep, 100%. So let's give people different tools, right? So it's not like analogies itself is bad. It's just depending on the context. And also, the reason why being direct would work is because throughout your discovery, you're challenging them and you're being direct the whole time, right? Not being like so direct in the beginning, but like throughout, as you call the call progresses, when you see limiting beliefs or that's something that's helping them, you actually challenge them on it. And that's why in objection handling, you can be more direct. You can't be, as Eli Wild put it, you can't be a pussy for 25 minutes of the call and the discovery and try to be all direct in objection handling. It just doesn't work because the prospect feels like they're talking to two different people. Yeah. It's not congruent, right? Yeah. So let's go through another example too. Let's go through an example of, hey, what if this doesn't work, right? And let's just say we handle like logistical money and let's go from there, right? All right, cool, man. So knowing that money works and you feel like this could help you get to where you want to go, where do you want to go from here?
Yeah. What if this doesn't work though?
That's the whole point, man. It's that we don't know. But what's the alternative? Here's the thing, right? Let's say you've been training for the Olympics since you're 4 years old. You get to the track every morning. You get the best coaches. You get the best food. You run every day. You get to the Olympics. You look to your right, and it's Usain fucking Bolt. You will lose. You will fail. So this is when most people don't even stop, man. They don't even start. Because they're like, yeah, but what if I lose to somebody? So where are they now? No one knows about them. Mediocrity and regret. So that one person, they may have lost to Usain Bolt, but they still won a silver medal. And they've done everything they possibly could to put themselves in the best position to win. And for that person is fucking awesome. Because they went for it. So what do you feel like you need to do to put yourself in the best position to win?
That's good.
Give me another section.
Well, yeah, I just don't make decisions on the spot though.
Yeah. Is that kind of how you've always been making decisions?
Not really.
Okay.
There are times where I just made impulsive decision, never really worked it out,
Okay. So it quite didn't work out in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you be open to looking at that from a different perspective?
No. Just kidding.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hang on soon. Okay, so are you in a relationship right now or you've been one before?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm sure you've had, have you ever had situations where you thought it was going to work out well with that person, but it quite didn't?
Yeah.
Okay, so after that, have you completely stopped meeting people altogether?
I haven't stopped.
Why not, man? Why not just stay alone for the rest of your life? Live with like 9 cats.
Well, because I'll miss out,
Miss out on what?
Miss out on the experiences that I can live life,
Yeah, and you mentioned you have a family. So would you have the beautiful kids and the beautiful wife you have now if you just stopped after one bad experience?
Yeah, I get you. You're right.
Well, I didn't ask you if I'm right or not. Would you have that right now?
Yeah.
Right. So you wouldn't have that if you stopped after that. right?
Yeah.
So same thing here, man. Like just because you had a quote unquote bad experience doesn't mean you made a bad decision because you have the best of intention, right? What if you tried before? You wanted to provide more for yourself and your family. It just quite didn't work out. But what's the alternative? Just stop trying? Keep being paycheck to paycheck for another 6 years like you have for the last 6 years? Is that the option?
That can't be an option.
Why not? It is an option, man. Dude, listen, most Americans, that is their fucking reality. Until 70 years old, they're working at Walmart. I'm sure you've seen those people. It is an option.
But I do want to spend more time with the kids.
Yeah, and what happens if you don't?
Then they'll miss out.
On what?
The time with their family, with their dad.
Yeah, you mentioned like one's 11, one's 7, right?
Yeah.
So one has 7 years. Not at that, they're out of the house. How often do you think you're going to see them after that?
I won't.
Yeah. So if they have one childhood, what kind of father do you want to be while they're still there?
It's a father that took risks.
You don't have to, man. You can just stay inside of your comfort zone, keep missing soccer practice with Timmy. They're going to be the only kids without their dad at their practice while all their friends are there. Their parents are there. You could be that father.
Okay. No, I can't. I can't let that happen. No.
So what needs to happen from here?
Need to do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Powerful shit, you know.
Yeah. So in that example, I use an analogy because there's, again, different tools. But what analogies do is it put things into context in the visual context, right? So essentially the message we're trying to convey is, dude, what's the fucking alternative?
Yeah.
Dude, just don't try then. Stay paycheck to paycheck.
No, I remember Marco actually showing me a clip and he was objection handling. And the first objection was like, I don't know, would it work for me, Marco? It was like, Marco's like, so what? Not try? You're not going to do it? Don't do it then. He was like doing that. Yeah. I was like, dude, wow, that's playful. But the guy was like, no, yeah, I got to do something. Well, you don't have to. Just keep on seeing where you're at right now. Like Marco was doing that. Marco was like, so what? So what? Like, I love that. I love those 2 words. And it was like the same message that you were delivering, right? So what? Stop trying? Is that an option? Because I think your belief system, my belief system is, and it's a mindset thing. Your belief system, my belief system is that it's not about whether we got to the destination or not. That is important. But it's how many times we tried though to get there. Because not trying cannot be an option. Not getting there can be an option, right? Not trying can never be an option though. It's about how many times you tried to get there, you know? Like how many times have you tried to get better sales, right? Even if it didn't work out, you keep on trying. At the end of the day, life is all about how many times you tried. Results, it might not follow. It's an unfair world. But what are you going to do about it though?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do about it though?
Yeah, and the Matt uses the island analogy, right? So I don't use it too often, but a lot of times, so people, closers often say, hey, I'm using that island analogy, this analogy. It's not really hitting. Why is that? Well, it's typically because there's different reasons for it, right? Maybe it could be the discovery, but a lot of times what I see is reps don't understand what message they're trying to convey, so it doesn't come off convinced with certainty. They don't know. But I wholeheartedly believe that because the whole message is that, oh, dude, I'd rather fucking drown and die trying. I'd fucking get after it. So I have zero sympathy for people. They're like, yeah, but you know, I mean, I get it, right? Like we all have the fear. I have that too. Although I may look like a psychopath, I don't think I'm a psychopath yet. So I have that fear too from time to time. Yeah, a lot of it has got to numb because I'm just like, yep. Like whenever there's an investment, I was like, okay, 17 grand, 20 grand. All right, cool. Wired, done. Let's get to work. What do I got to do?
Yeah.
Right. So, and listen, some things work out, some things don't. Listen, I hired this immigration firm and I paid them $4 grand in 8 months and fuck, their communications is terrible. Me as the client, I follow up with them 3-4 times over email. No response. I think call their office, relentless follow-ups. I'm the client, right? I do that. They still couldn't get the job done after 8 months. And at one point, I was kind of feeling sorry for myself. I'm like, man, this is the worst service. Maybe I shouldn't have gone with them. I was like, nah, fuck it. So I went whole Thanos. So I was like, fine, I'll do it myself. I love Thanos. Shout out to Thanos. So fine, I'll do it myself. And then I was like, okay, what's the website link? Let me just fucking book it myself. And then I didn't know how to do it. I just like played, like clicked different things. After 20 minutes, I fixed it. It took them 8 months and $4,000. Still couldn't get it done. So I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me just fucking go for it. I don't care. Give me the fucking key. Give me the controller. And because of that, when prospects are saying kind of afraid, I'm like, yes, listen, I get it. I've been there. But man, what's the alternative?
Yeah.
Just stay where you're at? Dude, I don't know about you. I don't want to be on my fucking deathbed. If I'm lucky to make it to my deathbed, because not all of us make it to our deathbed, right? Things could happen. And say, man, I wish I would have taken the risk. Yeah. I wish I would have actually taken that chance. Dude, I don't want to fucking do that, man. That was fucking painful.
Yeah. And as cliche and corny as it sounds like, but if you're actually delivery with confidence or conviction, it's not really that corny and or cocky or so. Like I love to use the deathbed analogy all the time. It's like, at your deathbed, what are you gonna regret the most? At least you're gonna tell your children, I haven't tried because I just thought of the what ifs, or at least I've tried. I know it doesn't work. Or the other option is, I tried and I made it work, and you guys have a better future. Isn't that worth trying? And you having the what ifs in your mind, is that thought process worth having? Because it's not about whether you got to the destination or not. That is important. But it's also about how many times you try. Because what's the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario is what? Losing your money. I get it. It happens. What's the best case scenario though? You be able to live the life that you want, support your kids, travel around. But let's say you never really got there. What's the middle case scenario? Is you making an extra few $1,000s maybe? Is that worth you doing something though? Is that worth you putting a line in the sand and doing something so that you at least get your groceries covered? Because how will you ever get there? And I love the how question. Like the how question is so underrated, but Marco taught me this, and it works with like tonality. Like Jerry Miner does it also, right? It's from Jerry Miner. How do you ever change your situation if you don't make the change for yourself, Brian? Like I don't know how to do that tonality, but I've mimicked a little bit of it, and it works differently though. It's like people say it feels like you're in a laundry machine because you're like, sometimes you're fast paced or talking over it. And then one last question is like, or the first question is like, but Brian, for real though, it's a dead serious question. Like, how will you ever get the results that you want if you don't even back yourself up and even try though? I'm looking straight in your eyes right now, straight in your eyes. I'm like this. I'm like slowing down to make sure that it lands, you know? And that was one of the most powerful things that I've learned from Marco. Is like, you know, at the end of the day, fuck all the reframes, fuck all the word tracks also. Like that one sentence got me some really, really good closes also. And they're like, no, Jude, you're right. No, I want you to think about it. Take a deep breath right now. For real. How though? Because it's a dead serious question. They're like, okay, how can I start that? Like they actually do that. I'm like, wow, tonality does matter also in objection handling.
100%. And also conviction plays a huge part, right? So I'm thinking of different people right now. Matt, he's usually like up top, he's like very like airy fairy, but like towards like objection handling. Well, depending on how I do it. In the beginning, he's like very quick. He's like so quick, like you can't even like, oh, and then like all of a sudden, like, okay, here's my credit card. Like that happens. Yeah. But sometimes, because I've heard like more longer objection handling cycles that he's done, and he's very like stern. It's like, dude, you gotta fucking get outside of your comfort zone, man. Because what's the fucking alternative?
Yeah.
He'll talk like that. On that example, Josh, man, that guy's conviction, I just gotta give it to him. I have a lot of respect for that guy. Because it's like he's trying to like be super pushy. It's just like, the thing about Josh is that you really buy into him or you fucking hate him. I'm very similar to him, right? So when I was a 7th, he was number 1, I was number 2. We were similar in that regard. It was just Josh was more extreme. So either people really like, oh, fuck, right? Like they really buy into that, they follow his lead, or they fucking hate him. Same thing with me. Because like now I didn't know about people, like how they thought about the sales call, so on and so forth. But now that I'm putting out more content, like people that I've sold before, they'll make a comment on one of my posts. It's like, yeah, dude, the way you sold me, it was crazy. Like so much conviction. Thank you for believing me, da 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 da. But there are people that fucking hated me, man. So it's quite polarizing. Is it the right way to do, the wrong way to do? I don't know. But either way, like conviction is very important because when prospects hop on, they're lacking conviction. They're lacking certainty. They have problems. Doesn't matter how they come across. If they look like everything, dude, I'm doing good already, bro. Like there's something's lacking. You got to be the one that's actually leading with the conviction thing.
Yeah.
So I actually want to do this too with the deathbed analogy because sometimes, obviously, you want to add urgency throughout the discovery, but at times people may feel like, yeah, but I don't think it's the right time, man. Like I think maybe the latest not time. So let's go through that. This is more of a, I don't know if I should put this out. It's it kind of belongs like near and dear to my heart, but it's the one I usually do. So let's go through that. Let's just like, yeah, man, where should we go from here? And you'll say something like, yeah, I don't know if it's not the right time. I think I can do it later, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a lot of things to do right now, so I just don't think this is the right time for me, you know?
Yeah. So Buddha said this once, right? So Buddha said, the problem is you think you have time. And that is the problem because in my room, I used to have a poster that had 4,000 dots on it. You know what those dots are for?
No.
So it's 1 dot for a week of life that an average human is given in their lifetime, if we're lucky. So when I was 21, I had a buddy, best friend from high school, that didn't get to use all of his dots. Okay, so he was 20 years old. And we all hear, right? Hey, tomorrow's not guaranteed, so live your life to the fullest, blah, blah, blah. We all hear it, but we just kind of ignore it. Just live our life like we have tomorrow. But one morning I get a text. It's like, hey, you should come here. And it's an address of a funeral house. And I'm like, why the fuck am I going to a funeral house? So I walk up there, and there he is in the casket. Dear best friend.
Yeah.
So we all hear that, but when you see your best friend like that, and you see them in a glass jar in their ashes, you can't talk to them anymore. It hits you differently. Because my friend, he only got to use 1,000 out of the 4,000 dots, man. He thought he had tomorrow. He was going to his fucking guitar lesson. Same crosswalk that he's crossed hundreds of times. So whenever someone says, yeah, I think I have time, I can do it later. Dude, to me, it doesn't make sense. Because that was 6 years ago. That mental image still never left my head. So I get after it. Because if I live life like I have tomorrow, that'd be me spitting on my dear best friend's face. So what do you feel like you need to do before you go to bed tonight to make sure you're being the father to provide the best life for your children?
Yeah. A lot of people think it's the Q&A also, but I do integrate a lot of, you and I think we do integrate a lot of storytelling as well, right? Talk about my father's death also. Like if they're a father and they have kids, they're like, I don't feel like I'm ready yet. Well, so is my dad also. He wasn't ready for like being in a deathbed, you know, he was never ready for that. But the thing is, death is inevitable. He's never seen his kid after he's never, I'm a pretty tall dude, by the way, but he's never ever seen me taller than him in his life. I still remember my dad being taller. I'm a 6'4" dude, by the way. He was like, what, 178 centimeters, so like 5'10", 5'9". He's never seen me taller than him. He's never seen the man I've grown up to him. And I wish I could have spent more time with him, right? So I talk about the story also, and at the end of the day, what are you going to tell yourself? Well, I didn't expect this. I wish my dad had this type of opportunity before. I wish my dad did something about it, but he's never done it because he didn't know. He genuinely didn't know. We genuinely didn't know. But now you know. Fortunately, also. Unfortunately, if you don't do anything about it, fortunately, if you do actually try, then what? Because you're a little uncomfortable, you're not going to do it? Well, guess what? It's uncomfortable to face the reality of losing my dad also. What type of comfort do you want to choose at the end of the day? The comfort of regret? The discomfort of regret? Or the discomfort of actually trying something and making that change? What do you want? Which discomfort do you want to choose at the end of the day? And that's what I also say also in like the fourth, fifth loop, I guess. I don't want to bring that up, but like if I feel like, for example, I'm talking with a single mother or a single dad or talking with a dad that really loves his children, I'm like, dude, you gotta do something about it because I trust my program, I trust myself enough that I'm telling you, I got you. I can help you. And that's the story I tell also. But it's like until the fourth, fifth loop where I feel like, oh, I really need to get this guy out of his own way. He's not going to do anything with his life,
Yeah, 100%. And is it a technique? Yes and no, because yes, we're doing that to get them to an emotional state and add more urgency. But when we say that, like for me, for example, when I'm doing that, I don't have to act. I don't have to like try to put emotions behind it because it just naturally comes out. Probably same with you, right? When you're doing that story, that example, it just comes out. And at certain points, especially it's more of like a social intelligence thing. But when you start to see that this person's kind of on the edge, at some point you can just be like, dude, let's go for it, man.
Yeah.
Dude, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Let's go for it. Right. So, which is kind of counterintuitive. Like, hey, don't tell them what to do. You got to ask. But like at a certain point, if they're kind of on the edge at that point, just be like, dude, let's go, man. What are we doing?
Yeah. Literally, this reminds me of one story where it's like, I mean, why is that important? Where does it stem from? They say, oh, when I was a son, also when I was a kid, also I wasn't able to spend time with family, and then there was a time I actually related back also. Well, as you said, actually, I kind of feel you because change is uncomfortable, right? You're being the 5K buzz, trying to be a 30K buzz guy. Of course, change is uncomfortable, but you remind me of kind of like myself also in a way where I've never really had the privilege to spend more time with my dad. And my dad passed away 12 years ago. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. No, that's fine. It's that as a son, and you have two sons right now, one was like 11 years old, one was like 17 years old. Like, my dad probably, if he was alive till now, my dad probably wouldn't have wanted me to say to his face that, hey, I wish I could have spent more time with you. But the reality is, I could have spent more time with him because he was always working. Always working. Right now, you're working 60 hours a week. That's 60 hours, like compiled into what? The next 10 years, 20 years. The next 10 years, 20 years, when they've missed out, they're no longer daddy's boys or daddy's girls anymore. They're a full-grown adult. Like, there's no guarantee that you'll see them anymore also because they're now choosing for their own lives. Like, don't make another example of myself as son. Like, I respect my dad to death, but don't make this type of example for you and your kids. Because do you want your kids to come to you and say, hey, Dad, I respect you, but I could have spent more time with you? Do you want to really hear that? Like, well, what do you need to do then? Are you really not going to make the change? Are you just going to stay comfortable doing what you're doing right now? And stay in that bubble? Is that fair for your kids? Is that fair for yourself, really? Is that fair for the limited time that we have in this life? Do you want to make another example of you as a son, what you've gone through for you and your kids? Really? Repeating the same cycle again? To break the cycle, you need to do something extraordinary. What is that extraordinary thing then? What is that crazy thing then? Right? It's not like I'm just making this up right now also, but the reason why it's just my belief system again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So that's why it's important for salespeople to kind of live that, because like people say they don't like their situations, but their actions don't match it. Like, it's kind of side tangent, but it's just, they don't act like it. They're like, oh yeah, like I hate my situation. Like I want to do something. It's like, yeah, but why aren't you doing it?
Yeah.
And so because you're not doing it, how are you supposed to get someone else on a sales call to get them to do something?
Yeah. I mean, it's a logical fallacy. I'll do this first and then I'll do this. It sounds logical, but it isn't. Because my life, as cliche and how Instagram motivational it sounds like, how much potential, how much time are you losing out on the table just because you take action on the things that you feel like you're ready? Really?
Yep.
Like, how much time are you losing just because you take actions that you feel like now it's time to go? Because the analogies that I love, and I make it super simple, by the way, people like make it cool. The analogies that I love is, for example, like if someone says, I will make rash decisions, I uncover why, I'm like, okay, well, have you ever done bungee jumping, right? Like, I mean, imagine you're bungee jumping for a second. The longer you wait, do you think it's harder to make the jump or easier to make the jump? You know what? This decision is already hard. I know. Because you're trying to transition from being the 5K a month guy to 30K a month guy, spending more time with the kids. It's extraordinary results. Of course it's hard. But does your results deserve to be any harder than what it is already, when it's already hard? Then why would you make it any harder than it is? Because does your kids deserve more with you? Then why wouldn't you pick a side, pick a decision that is easier and beneficial for you and gives you the higher possibility of winning than to just stay wherever you want? Stay wherever you want, because what happens if you keep on stay where you're at right now and keep on just elongating that wait though? Like what actually happens though? I'm dead serious though. Then what do you need to do? Like wait or jump? I don't know, you tell me, right? Like there's so many ways, like it just comes out naturally, right? Of course, we put it on a word track, like you and I, we put it on a word track and decision tree, all that. But these are things that we, like, we both genuinely believe, you know?
Yeah.
Like when we're on a sales call, the only time probably we didn't buy was because it was just so sketchy, I guess.
Yep.
But the rest, like, I think just 90% of the time I just bought.
Yep.
You also bought 90% of the time. It's like, oh, my credit card. They don't even go, they probably feel it. The sales rep, I've never gone through a proper sales process.
No,
you also. I'm like, no one asked me a question. I'm like, oh, someone's going to ask me a question.
I want to be sold, bro. I want to be sold, but no one properly sold either of us.
And you and I, we were trying to do a rental arbitrage program. And you and I were both told, hey, go think about it, actually. I'm like, both told, we were like,
why?
Let's do it. I don't care. Like research aside or whatever. Like if I do it, if I like it, I'll just like whatever. Just take my money, you know, right? But it's like I don't want to miss out on potential though. I don't want to make this decision any hard. It's already hard anyway. It's my money, but I decided to do it. So when am I gonna do it? Later? I'll just do it right now. 매도 먼저 받는 사람이 난다. So like that. What I just said is Korean. It's like whoever gets beaten up first has a peace of mind in school. Like we're all beaten up when we're kids, you know?
True stories. Fuck.
Yeah. So like we would actually get in line to get beaten up by our
because
teachers.
we got a fucking math question wrong.
Yeah. We actually did that. And whoever stands on the last side,
it's the worst.
It's the worst. It's like you want to just get that out of the way. Why not just make it easier then, right?
Yeah, because now you're like your hands are sweating because like you see other people get beat up, and now like when you have sweat on your hand, it hurts more.
It hurts more, yeah.
So you're like, fucking get it over with.
So that's the whole perspective of it. Like, I guess Korean education taught me well on that side, I guess.
Thanks, Korea.
Thanks, Korea.
All right, cool. Anything else you want to say?
Nothing else. This was good.
All right. So go share with your sales homies. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.
Ciao.